Good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. If you don't, happy holidays. So I just wanted to invite your family and you into our home and our family, what we celebrate and how we celebrate part of Christmas. So usually I start off in the morning and I get everything set up for a big, huge buffet sort of brunch feast. So we're going to go through that now, along with the stuffing of the turkey. So I'm going to do 2 recipes for the turkey stuffing. I'm going to go with my usual recipe that I do for one side, and then on the other side, the other cavity, I'm going to use my dad's family recipe that I just got a couple of days ago. So we're going to see which one is going to taste better at the end when it's all done cooking. Anyway, so let's get started. There are a few shortcuts that I do make, some of them for time, some of them just for convenience, and some of them just because it's just me, my daughter, and my friend Erin, who I want to give a really big shout out to because she is the best friend in the world. And if everybody had a friend just like her, we'd all be so incredibly lucky. She's been there for us for the last like 12, 13, 14 years, and she's just an absolutely fantastic friend. So moving on though, you are going to see a few shortcuts where I don't put things into separate nice little dishes, because if it comes in a container, I'm going to leave it in that container so that when we're done using it, because it's not going to be empty, it's just going to be 3 of us, I can put the lid back on, just throw it right back in the fridge. So we are going to continue, and we're going to start with doing up the fruits. So let's get going. Okay, so I'm going to start with some cantaloupe. Unfortunately, half the side got a little soft, sitting on my table for a couple of days, which it shouldn't be after only a couple of days, but these I don't think were the best quality melons. But there we have it. Okay, so I'm going to scoop out the middle, be right back. Alright, so we have our half melon here. Oh, looks like I forgot a seed. So I'm starting with the fruits and the vegetables first because I'm a little less likely to have cats trying to get in to eat it all. So we're going to start with these first. So if you guys have any family traditions that you guys do every year, please feel free to leave it down in the comments down below if you'd like to share with me what your family traditions are. So normally what we do is, because the other half of the mummy-daughter duo is currently at her father's spending Christmas Eve night and Christmas morning with her dad. This is the time when we usually get all the food prep done. And then when she gets home, we kind of load up a plate of food, go sit on the couch, and we open up our stockings and our Christmas gifts. We have a little bit to eat in the process. We play some games after we're done opening up our Christmas gifts. We might watch a movie or put a movie on in the background to watch while we're playing games and just kind of hanging out together. Because that's kind of what Christmas is all about. It's not about the presents. It's not about the money. It's about the family. And spending time together as family. So I'm going to use one of my pretty little plates that's going to go over onto my tiered rack right here eventually. Is there any kind of foods that you guys like using or having on your Christmas day? Having for breakfast or for lunch or whatever? I mean, I don't know about you, but even though there's only a few of us here, I make enough food to feed a small army, which is good. I mean, we don't eat it all, for sure. We can never eat this much food that I make. But it's also good, too, so that if you've got kids and you want to sleep in over the Christmas holidays or whatever, or they're home, they already have snacks already prepared for them. Already nicely cut up in containers. So they don't have to sit there going through everything and eating you out of house and home, because they've already got a bunch of snacks and foods already sitting there. Leftovers from Christmas dinner. And the food is healthy and nutritious, so you know that they're not going to be sitting there eating all junk food up. or eating whatever candies and chocolates and stuff that they were given for Christmas between, you know, from you or other family members or friends and such. Because usually afterwards, whatever's left, I just kind of throw into a Tupperware container and put it in the fridge. And if we ever get hungry, whether it's today, which probably isn't going to be with the amount of food that I make, or tomorrow or whatever, then we've got food already sitting there. Oops. Waiting to go. Don't tell anybody. Just dropped a piece of cantaloupe on the floor. Alright, so there's our cantaloupe that we are going to do up. So I'm just going to put it over on our rack here. Get rid of this. And we're going to move on to the next one, which will be honeydew. So when I come back, I'm going to have the honeydew cut in half, and I'm also going to have it de-seeded so that we can start cutting up the honeydew. Okay, so here we are back with the honeydew, which had a sticker on it between the two stickers that cut in half that said, Honeydew! Might as well grab a tray for this. Now what you can also do is you can also kind of slice down into the skin, and then you get more flexibility in the skin when you go to cut it. If you want, you can also do that. Depends on what you like doing. But I'm just going to stick with this way. So if you're wondering why I'm a little quiet when I'm talking, it's because my friend is actually sleeping right now. And she works very, very hard at her job. And so if she's sleeping, I don't want to wake her up and disturb her. But I also like getting this stuff done too. Usually she comes out when I'm about halfway done or almost done to offer help. And it's okay by that point. I don't need any help because it doesn't take me long to do this, really. And if you're like me and you haven't slept well lately, you know, this is the perfect time to do it. You got lots of time because you're up early. Everybody else is still sleeping and they're not sitting there, you know, trying to grab bits of food while you're trying to cut stuff. So the last fruit that we're going to be doing after this one is the pineapple. Because I didn't find any other fruits that I was really interested in purchasing or that were decently priced enough, because I would have gotten cherries, but they're really expensive right now. Given, I mean, it's wintertime, they're not really, you know, local to this area, so they tend to be a little bit more expensive right now because they come from other parts of the world where it is a lot warmer than it is here. Although so far I must say, other than, you know, a couple of days that have been really windy or whatever, temperatures haven't really been too bad here. Afterwards I'll take you to the window so you can kind of see what we see outside, which is thankfully going to be a white Christmas this year. We weren't quite sure if we were going to get a white Christmas this year because of the milder temperatures. But Santa Claus came through and he gave us a white Christmas, or Mother Nature, or whatever you want to say gave it to us. We got a nice little white Christmas going on. All right, so there's our honeydew all done. All right, so let me get this all cleaned up and I'll be right back with the pineapple. All right, so here is our pineapple, which is a product of Costa Rica, because clearly we can't grow pineapples in Canada. Even in our warmest months, we can't grow pineapples in Canada. So we're just going to cut off the top here. Okay, and some of them, like this one, will come with kind of instructions on how to cut your pineapple and take care of it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of cut this into quarters. Well, I'm just going to cut it in half, keep one half to the side, and then I'm going to cut the other half. Okay, and then what you want to do is you kind of want to get rid of this center part right here, because it's a little bit on the woody side. As you can see, the grain is kind of going away from the rest of it. And you can kind of maybe see a little bit right at that center part there. That's where the core is. So we're going to cut that core out. And we're going to do the same on this one. We're going to cut off the ends here. Okay, and then you can cut it into smaller quarters if you want to. You don't have to, but it does make it easier when you're going to cut them along the skin. Okay, so then we're going to take off this part here, this rind. So you just kind of stand it up on its end. Okay, so you kind of want to get rid of like all these little brown pieces here, because they kind of stab your tongue and then they hurt your tongue. And then you don't want to really eat them anymore. Just kind of cut that up into slices there. Or chunks. I always love having fresh fruit, but if you can't get fresh, or if you're just on your own, you don't eat enough fruit to be able to go through it all, frozen is always an excellent choice to get. I have, different frozen fruits like blueberries and stuff in my freezer, just because we may not go through enough fruit to eat the whole thing, and you forget about it, and then it goes bad, and then you feel bad because you just wasted all that money on buying that fresh fruit. So frozen fruit is an excellent alternative to buying fresh stuff. And sometimes it's more affordable to buy frozen than it is to buy fresh. Although I find frozen peaches are not a very good option to get frozen, just because of when they pick them, they get them so that they're not fully ripened yet. And then they go into and they freeze them, they flash freeze them, and then they're so hard as a rock when you go to pull them out. It makes for not a very enjoyable peaching experience. So if you're buying peaches frozen, they're usually better off for like making pies or peach cobblers or smoothies, but not to be eating fresh like we're going to be eating these. At least that's what I find anyways. Maybe you guys might have different fruits more indigenous to your areas than what we have here. So if you've got different fruits that you guys eat on a regular basis from wherever you're from, feel free to share with me and let me know what kind of fruits, or share with us what kind of fruits you guys enjoy eating that are more indigenous to your areas or your countries. Alright, so that's the pineapple tray done. So I'm going to get everything all cleaned up over here. And we'll be right back with All-Star Veggies next. Alright, we're back with the vegetables. So here we are with one of my first kind of shorts or sheets or cuts. So I just buy, so I get one of these. These are like a powdered sort of dipping mix. And then this one you can make with sour cream. So I just get a tub of sour cream, and instead of putting it into a separate dish and mixing it all up, I do it in the same dish, and it'll go right in the center of my veggie tray. So I'm going to use a ranch style dip. You can also buy onion soup and do the same sort of thing with an onion soup mix, but my Bell's not a big fan of the onion soup mix for onion soup dip or an onion dip. So there's no sense in me buying that, because the only person that's going to eat it is myself or Erin. And she leaves to go back home later on today, because she's got to work tomorrow. Ooh. Making a little bit of a mess over here. It's alright. So there's no sense in just leaving and making it if it's just going to be me eating it afterwards. So it's better just to do something that we can all eat, that we'll all enjoy, that will get eaten up. So like I said, this is one of my cheats, because all I gotta do, stick a lid on it, and it can go into the center tray for now. When we're done using it, it can go right in the fridge. No need for any extra containers, no need for any extra mess, it's just right there. So we got some carrots, we can put some carrots on here. Okay, so you should always wash your vegetables, or your fruits, whatever. We have, resealable my butt. It's not resealable, really. So we have mushrooms here. So we're going to take out a bunch of mushrooms, and I'm going to wash them, and I will be right back after washing them so we can get them cut up. Alright, so I've washed my mushrooms. So there's really two ways that you can do mushrooms. Two ways that you can clean them. You can either wash them and just kind of leave the skin on, or you can kind of like go back and forth and take out the center and then just go along the edge and just peel the skin off, if that's what you prefer. Either way, it's not wrong either way. Just takes a little bit of extra work to do it this way. And then if you still got a little bit on top you want to skin off, just kind of take your knife, skin along the top a little bit. Although most of the nutrients for stuff is in the skins, believe it or not. So we can do it that way, or we can just kind of do it this way, where we just chop off the end. And then you can divide into quarters, or however big you want your pieces. If you have like a really big one, then you can take your quarter and cut it in half. Just like that. There we go. Put that nicely on our tray there. Now, if you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to use mushrooms. We like mushrooms, so I use mushrooms. But you can use whatever vegetables you like or are more indigenous to your area. too many mushrooms there. That's okay. All right. Then we have tomatoes. That you can wash up tomatoes. So we're just going to pile those on there like that. Now you can use whichever vegetables you like. Like I said, you can also put celery in there, cauliflower. Those are good options as well. All right, so there's the tomatoes. Now I have some sugar snap peas. So these are really nice too to eat because they have a nice little crunch, nice little snack, and they've got a little bit of sweetness to them too. So I'm just going to take some out of the bag here. And going to wash them up. So we'll be right back after I've washed them up. All right, so we're back. We got some peppers. So we're just going to kind of cut up the peppers here. Now you can use the really, really tiny peppers if you'd like as well, like the one bite one sort of deal. Or you can get, I got little tiny mini ones here, or you can get big ones too. And just kind of cut them up, put them on your tray. Now if you seem to have a lot of people kind of going for one or two of the vegetables or the fruits a little bit more than the other ones, maybe instead of like going and replenishing them, wait till your entire tray is empty and then replenish all your fruits and your vegetables, because then otherwise you might wind up wasting more food because they're not eating the other stuff. Now, I mean, you can do as you wish, clearly, and replenish it as, you know, people eat stuff off the tray. But then you got people that are just going to sit there eating all the stuff that you've just replenished as opposed to eating everything else that was on the tray as well. You know, like when you get picky kids or picky eaters that only eat specific things. If you give them less of a choice, but they're still hungry and they still want to eat things, then they'll eat the other stuff. And if they don't eat it, well, oh well. We're just going to cut up a few peppers here. And then the last thing that we're going to do is the broccoli. Alright, so I'm going to be right back after I finish getting all the peppers cut up. Alright, so our peppers are all done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the broccoli. I like to get broccoli kind of like this. If you like to get the actual stalks of broccoli, that's cool too. I just find that this is a little bit easier. So you just take some out. And if you also don't use the whole bag, another great thing you can do afterwards is you can use the rest of this and you can make like a cream of broccoli soup afterwards. So I think that's actually gonna be good. So just cut off the stalks there. I'll just set that right there. Now another cheat that I kind of like to do, just because with Christmas dinner and everything that goes on Christmas Day, I like to kind of cheat with my dishes a little bit. And that for this meal, for this part of the meal, I'll use like paper plates. Just because afterwards when you're done with them, you can just kind of throw them out. And you don't have plates to wash in addition to like all of your other food preparation stuff to wash. Alright, so there's our veggie tray. All nicely completed. Very nice and colorful. So we're just going to put that over here. Okay, so the next one we are going to do is the meat cheese cracker platter, I think. So we'll see how that goes. We'll be right back. Alright, so here we are with the meat, cheese, and crackers. I get this at Costco, and it's got like the 5 different varieties in there. Well, 4 different varieties, but 5 boxes in there. And they actually had these on sale for $6.99, I think, instead of $11.99. I also do some different cheeses. These two I've never tried before, so we're going to give these a shot. This is a Port Salut. They are cheese people since 1816. So this is like a soft cheddar cheese, I think. And then this is called the Lancashire Bomb. And this is a hard cheese. I mean, I guess knocking on the side of it's not going to help since it's wax all over the outside. And then we have the Boursin, which is really good. I like the fine herbs and garlic better than the, I think it was cranberry and cracked pepper that we had the one time. I wasn't a big fan of that one, although they do have a fig and balsamic one, which kind of sounds good. And then we just have like a very basic sort of marble cheese. And we also have a brie cheese. So I do have a little knife that we're going to put on the side, which is right here, that we're going to be able to use for the brie cheese and possibly the Boursin and maybe the Port Salut. So we're going to see how that goes. So we also have Polish sausage, and we have kielbasa, and we do have a few of the salami meats from our carnivore box that we previously reviewed for you guys that came in earlier this month. So we're going to get started getting some of this stuff chopped up. I'm just going to clean up my work area and I'll be right back. Alright, so the Boursin just kind of comes in a container like this. So I think I'm just going to open that up like so. Take off that metal top. Let's open that up a little bit more. Stick that right more or less kind of in the center. Just because it's round, I mean, I'm not going to sit there breaking it up. We're going to cut up some of our cheese. So while I do have a whole cheese cutting set somewhere in here, probably in a cupboard, I'm just going to use this little serrated sort of knife, which I quite like for using to cut cheese because it goes through pretty easily. So if you want, you can leave it in slices like that, or you can put it into smaller squares like that. All kind of depends on what you prefer. But I'm just going to leave them in longer strips. That way you can fit them onto that cracker a little bit better. Alright, so next we're going to put some of the sausage, or the salami, sorry, not sausage, salami, onto the plate. There we go. So with this stuff, you should leave out of your fridge for about 15 minutes or so before eating it. This stuff is a lot less pliable than it was the day we were eating it, or taste testing them for our review on this box. So I'll be right back once I can get it peeled a little bit. Alright, so I went and got all the meats already separated for the two salamis that we have. Went and did this one as well. So I'm going to put a cheese on there. Oh, smells. I don't know if I'll wind up using this or not. It stinks. But there's the Iberian cheese, or the Port Salut. Well, I mean, maybe it's just the casing. Yeah, tastes alright. But I'm just going to cut that up into little strips. Doesn't taste as bad as it smelled. So that's a good sign. So I think I'm going to have to do a separate plate for the crackers. It doesn't look like I'm going to have any room on here. Alright, so there's half of that cheese. Alright, so let's try this bomb one. I'm not quite sure how this is supposed to be opened. Maybe I just cut the wax off? I don't know. Let's find out. Oh. Whew. Oh, it's wax wrapped over a cloth wrapping. So this is going to be interesting. 1 second. Oh, here's my scissors. All right, I'm going to struggle with this one for a little bit, so let's come back to that afterwards. After I've gotten it off already, because clearly that's not going to happen anytime soon. All right, so let's dive into this brie cheese. Which is also a very soft, creamy cheese as well. So I'm just going to kind of pre-cut it, make life easier for myself and for other people. I clearly did not think about spacing when I bought all this stuff. Okay, so there we go. There's that. All right, so let's do these Polish sausage. Boy, try saying that one 5 times fast. So I'm just going to take a little bit off of here because we don't need the whole thing. There's just 3 of us. Even though we already have more than enough food to feed a small army. Thankfully, there isn't a small army here. Okay, so I'm just going to cut off a little piece of the ring. I'm going to take off the outer casing. These also make a wonderful snack for afterwards if they don't all get eaten or if you have extras. Alright, so there we go. There's that one. And now we got the kielbasa. In case you're wondering, yes, it is kielbasa, not kielbasa. In case anybody wants to try and correct me on that. Okay, just going to cut off the smallest section of that ring as well. Peel off this outer casing. put that on the other side. And we're going to put the Lancashire bomb right in the middle there. So we'll be back after I figure out how to open that jazz. Alright, well I think I got it. I had to pull this little piece off the top of the cheeseclothing here. But it is still taking a bit of work just because of the fact that it is surrounded in black wax. Ugh. I've never had to work so hard to get cheese out. So hopefully this is delicious for the amount of work I'm going through to get this thing out. If anybody that's from England knows an easier way of getting this cheese out of this cloth, please feel free to leave it in the comments down below. There we go. Okay. We got it out. But not without a considerable amount of effort. And there's black wax on everything. Ooh, it's a very crumbly cheese. It tastes like an aged white cheddar. Not bad. A lot better than I thought it might have been. It's got a bit of like a crystallization almost because of the aged. So sometimes it's hard to know when you buy stuff that come from other places that you've never tried before if they're going to be any good or not. But if you don't like it, you don't like it. You know, all you're out is a bit of money. I mean, although this ball did cost a little bit more than a bit of money. It was like $13 for this ball. I'm not going to lie. So I'm glad that it is actually good because I would have hated to have wasted $13 on a cheese that tastes crap. Alright, so there we go. There's our meat and cheese platter right there. And we are going to put this in the middle. There we go. Make it look all fancy. So we just need to do a platter to put our crackers on. Then we just have to do our shrimp thing. And our Swedish meatballs. I'm not sure what makes them Swedish. But it's meatballs with honey garlic sauce on it. Maybe somebody can tell me what makes Swedish meatballs Swedish. I don't know. But we'll be right back. Alright, so here we are with our 4 varieties. We have the Vinta. We have multigrain Bretons. We have the garden vegetable Breton. And also the original Bretons. So we're just going to place these nicely on the tray. I'll be right back afterwards. I've put them on there. Alright, so here's our 4 crackers. I'll set up on a plate here like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the shrimp ready. And then closer to before I got to go and pick my daughter up for Christmas, then we'll make the meatballs just because of temperatures and all that sort of stuff. I don't want the meat sitting out there in the cold. Alright, so I got this little dish here because I'm going to put the shrimp around the outside of the bowl and I'm going to put the shrimp sauce inside. Yes, you're right. This is a candy dish. But for our purposes, it will be for the shrimp. So a lot of shrimp platters, they come with their own kind of shrimp sauce. You may not like the shrimp sauce. This one happens to be a little bit on the sweeter side. So if yours is on the sweeter side, you don't like it a little bit on the sweeter side, you want it a little bit tangier, a little bit hotter, go and get yourself a jar or a can of, well, a jar of seafood sauce. I usually get a tangier version of it. So this one's on the sweeter side, so I'm going to add some of the other shrimp sauce into that to make it a little bit tangier. To be quite honest, that little tiny bit of shrimp sauce in there isn't going to do all the shrimp anyways. So I just put some of that in. Give it a little mix up. Maybe a little bit more. There we go, that's better. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is just grab the ring and I'm going to put the shrimp in layers around the outside of this. Alright, so here we go. Here's our shrimp ring. Let's see if we can get as many as possible. We may have to double them up. Not entirely sure, but let's see where we go from here. So these I also got from Costco. They not the Costco brand because those were all gone. Every single case. And normally for cheese, what I also like to do instead of buying all those cheeses separately is they have like a black styrofoam platter that's got like 5, maybe 6 different cheeses on it. So it comes with like a cheddar, a Gouda, a Swiss, a Monterey Jack. I think there might be one other kind that's on there. I'm not entirely sure, but it's also pretty affordable too because I think that platter costs like $16. So it's also really good too for afterwards if it didn't get all eaten up, you can use it for cheese and crackers, snacks and stuff at later dates. So yeah, we're just gonna double some up a little bit here. So this is, I guess, what would be known as a shrimp cocktail. I suppose. I don't know. There we go. There's that done. And then you can just use the spoon that you use for mixing stuff up. And you just put it in there. And there we are. That's all done. I think I'm going to stick a paper towel underneath this as well, just so it doesn't drip all over my table. Alright. So we'll be back a little bit later in about 2 hours or so to do up the meatballs before we go. That way everything food-wise for our little buffet feast will be done. And it'll be all set to go. And then all we gotta do is get the stuffing ready. So I'll be back to show you the 2 different ways of stuffing and prepare the rest of the meal and get the turkey in the oven so that it can cook. So we'll be back later. Bye. Alright everybody, we're back now. We're gonna make the 2 different kinds of stuffing and then we're going to work on the Swedish meatballs. And whatever makes them Swedish, I'm not sure. So in this bowl here, I have leftover bread that I put through my food processor. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's pecan. I don't know. So we're going to be adding some onions. We're going to be adding some celery, some poultry seasoning, and then I'm also, one of the other cheat things that I do is I add some stovetop turkey dressing to it. We're going to put some butter and some hot water in it, mix it all up. We're going to shove it into the turkey. Over here, I have bread that I've ripped up. For my dad's recipe, it's going to go with some sage that I've done up fresh here, salt and pepper, and margarine. So we're going to get started on that. Alright, so we're going to start with my dad's recipe first. So I needed to also add a half an onion into his. So we're going to put that half onion in there. And we also needed to put in eggs. I beat them first. So I'm just going to mix all that up. going to put in the sage. Made sure to use fresh sage to give the benefit of the doubt because I didn't know if ground sage would be okay. So to be able to give this recipe a proper testing, I used fresh. Also, he also said to use summer savory, but I don't know. I don't have any savory. I cannot find any fresh savory. And I don't know what the difference is between regular savory and summer savory. Or summer savory. I don't know. Is there a difference? Maybe you guys can let me know down below if there's a difference between summer savory and regular savory. Alright, so we are going to put in the margarine. So I got about a 1/4 cup of margarine here. Alright, we're going to mix all that up together. Okay, we're going to add some salt and pepper. Now they say salt and pepper to taste, but if there's something wrong there, can you really taste it to see if you've got enough salt and pepper in there to make it to taste? We're going to put a little bit of salt. Alright, there's some pepper. Alright, so that is one recipe all done. So I'll be back in a minute after I cut up half of another onion to put into mine, and then we'll make my recipe. Alright, so I've done up more onions to go into mine. So I'm going to put the onion in there. And I'm going to put up some chopped up celery. So I took about 2 stalks of celery. I also sliced them down lengthwise and then chopped them up pretty fine over here. So that's going to go in. Okay, and I'm going to put in some parsley. Or some dehydrated parsley. And I'm going to sprinkle on some poultry seasoning. Now my little cheater move is I also added a package of this, which is the stovetop turkey stuffing. Which is pretty much everything that I've just put in there. And then I'm going to add in my butter. And some hot water. And then I'm going to mix that all up. And that will be my stuffing. So almost doing the stovetop recipe, kind of like it would say on the back of the box. So you can clump it like I can with this. It's good to go. Alright, so that's going to be everything for that. So we are working on the meatball at the moment. So over here I have a pan that has a lid on it. There's some boiling water in there. And it's got some meatballs that are cooking in there just to kind of thaw out first. So once they are thawed, all the water is going to be absorbed. You're just sort of then going to fry them a little bit. And then you're going to add in the honey garlic sauce, which is this stuff right here. You're not going to put in the whole jar, obviously. You're just going to put it like a quarter to maybe half the jar in there. So we're going to be back in a minute once that's done. We're back now. We've now picked up Belle, so we're going to finish up these meatballs here. So we've added about a half jar or so of the honey garlic sauce. So we're just going to kind of boil those up so that they get all nicely coated and a lot of the sauce just kind of evaporates into liquid form. So while that's happening, we're also going to stuff the turkey. Now you saw earlier I made the two different stuffings, so I think I'm going to put this in this end and the other one in this end because I think I got a little bit more stuffing to try and get rid of to put in there.
Last year it looked like a turkey was giving birth.
We will post a picture afterwards of what the turkey looked like last year when I was finished with it. And it literally looked like our turkey was giving birth to stuffing.
Yeah.
My friend always wonders how I managed to stuff it in there, but she doesn't ask. She just knows that it goes in there somehow magically. It all fits.
Mm-hmm. Did you make the cat's bed?
No.
They're so cute. A little Christmas spirit for my little kitty right there. Hello. Okay, goodbye. She's really stuffing it. She's really throwing the stuffing in there.
I might even still have room left over.
Really? Sorry.
I mean, I'm not going to make any more additional stuffing to fit in there, but...
Hope you don't. Because this will be our food for like a month.
Well, it's not going to be good for a month.
Just kidding.
We wind up with things like salmonella poisoning.
Is that...
That's extra neck skin.
Ugh.
Ew. Alright, so there is one end all nicely stuffed.
Wait, where's the other
Even
end?
with room to spare in there. Look at that.
Where's the other end gonna go? Oh!
Goes in the neck. Alright, so now we're going to stuff the neck end.
no. Ew!
Which is usually easier when it's upside down. But we'll get it in there somehow.
Ew! Ew!
No.
Sorry. Oh.
Alright. Pause. Alright, so I flipped the bird over to make it easier for me to stuff all this stuffing in here. Because it will all fit.
With that turkey. It'll look like it's getting pregnant while bursting your head off.
Alright, we're almost done. We almost got all the stuffing in there. And we even still have room left to spare in there, too.
Remember, it expands, Mom.
Alright, so there's that done. I'm just going to tuck that over there like so. Flip the bird back over.
CPR. CPR.
There we go.
Do you think the bird will come back to life? Possibly though.
Alright, so over the top of the bird, I'm going to be spreading some olive oil.
Then you're just gonna massage the...
Rub it all over. Spread it around. Make sure everything's coated nicely. Yeah, there we go. Got everything all nicely coated there.
Need help?
Nope, I got it.
Okay. Poultry seasoning.
Yeah, so now we're going to put some poultry seasoning on top of that.
AK. Wait. Is it chicken seasoning? Yeah.
No, it's poultry seasoning.
Oh.
It's got rosemary and thyme and sage and some savory and... Alright, and there we go. That is going to go into the oven. So, Belle's going to show you what the meatballs look like, and then that's going to be everything for now.
So
We'll do
this
a
is
video later with all the fixings that we do for supper.
this is what the meatballs look like. They're nice and dark, and they have like a nice texture on them, and they're cooked so we don't get food poisoning. And we will see you guys later.